Hi there, in this video we're going to be learning about how to solve either a missing length or the area of a rectangle or square when we've been told just the perimeter. So first of all, what is an area and what is perimeter? So here I've got a rectangle and I've got two lengths. If it was labeled and it said here is, I don't know, A, B, C, and D, we can say the length of A to C, so A to C, we can just write as AC, is 2, and it'll probably say if it's centimeters, meters, kilometers, and then from C to D, we have 8. And then because it is a rectangle, it means that this length here will be the same here. And then this one here, if I do 2 lines, it'll be the same here. So that means that B to D is 2 and A to B is 8. So perimeter is when you add up all of the lengths. So in a rectangle, often we can call this side here, we can call it the length. Maybe we can call this one the width. So I'm saying the length is 8, the width is 2. We add up all of the lengths and widths. So I've got 2 plus 2. So if I write it up properly, I've got, what do we say again? We had BD was 2, and we had AB was 8. So I've got 2 plus 2, we've got 4, and then 8 plus 8, we've got 16, and then add 16 and 4 together, we get 20. So you can either just write it like this, 2 plus 2 plus 8 plus 8, or as you find more and more shortcuts in maths and try and find new ways of doing it, you can just do this one. So my width times 2 plus my length, which was 8 times 2. So we've got, do these first. So I've got 2 times 2 is 4, and 8 times 2 is 16, and this is 4 plus 16 is 20. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, just add all the sides up and you'll get there. The next question is, what is area? So area is when you make little squares inside a shape. So if this is, my length is in centimeters, then I'll need to have the answer in centimeter squares. This little 2 means square. So as an example, this 2 here represents that I've got 2 rows. The 8 here represents I should have 8 columns. So I have 4 here and then 4 here, so that should be 8 columns. So I've now made them into squares. So if I counted them all, I'll realize that I should have 16 squares. If not, we can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I've got the area of this shape is 16 centimeters. So 16 centimeters squared, because each little square is, if I look right here, I've got 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter is each square. So if you can't draw it up, the way of doing it is you just say the length times the width. So I had 2 times 8, and that equals 16. So hopefully that makes sense. So this is a recap. Perimeter is you add up all of the side lengths, and that's the way of doing it. The formula is length times 2 plus the width times 2. And then area, we multiply the length and the width. So in this one, I just had 2 times 8, and that was my answer. Or we could draw it up, and that also works. If the shape is a square rather than a rectangle, so if I had a square and one length is 5, well, a square has to be equal, an equal shape, so it means everything is 5. So I could either do 5 plus 5 plus 5 as plot 5, or I could just do 5 times 4 because they're all the same. So 5 times 4 will be the perimeter. So in this shape, as an example, the perimeter is 20. And if it was centimeters, you write centimeters. And then area would be 5 times 5, because if this is length, then this is also the same length. We don't call it width, it's just length, or side and side. So just length times itself. So we can actually write it like this, length with a little 2 on it, meaning I've got 5 times 5 in this case. And that'll be 25. So the area of that square is 25, if it was centimeters squared. So hopefully you've learned that in previous years. So now let's use that knowledge to answer our question. We have an unknown length and our width is 5 meters. First of all, we want to know what is our missing length. Just one of them. I don't need to know this one just yet. Just what's one of my missing lengths. So I'm going to call it C to D, CD. So the way we can do it is we can say, well, what do we know? Well, we know the perimeter. So we know that this plus this mystery plus this, which will be 5 because it's equal sides. The width is equal sides. So it's a rectangle. And then I have my other missing length. I know all of that together will be 28. So I've got 28 is my perimeter. If I divide that by 2, well, I'm going to find out what 2 of the sides are, my length and my width. I won't know what these are because that's everything together. But if I divide it by 2, I'm just finding out 2 of them. Or I'm finding out half of them. So out of the 4, I'm going to find out 2 of them. So if I do 28 divided by 2, I get 14. And it's in meters right now. So length plus width is 14, meaning this plus this will be 14. So how can I work out what CD is? Well, I've got the length plus the width is 14. Both of them together, take away one of them, which I do know is 5. My width is 5. So 14 take away 5 is 9, which means it's missing has to be 9 meters. If you didn't understand that, that's okay. Watch the next video and I'll go into it with more detail and you'll get there. Finally, I've got length and width. So area is really easy. I can just do 5 times 9 because that's my length and width. L times W equals 45 meters. Because it's area, it needs to be a little 2, because remember, it's when we make squares inside the shape and we're counting how many squares. So it'll be 45 squares if I drew it up. Great, what do we do with squares? So, as we said before, all of the lengths are the same. This time we don't know what any of them are. We know the perimeter, so this plus this plus this plus this will equal 24 centimeters. So first of all, I know it's in centimeters. That's helpful. Second of all, because they're all equal, whenever something's equal, you can use either multiplication or division to solve it. So length of one side will be 24 centimeters divided by 4, because I need to find out what one of them is. So we're splitting it up into its 4 sides, and they'll tell me what one of them will be. So 24 divided by 4. If you can't do division, remember you can skip count. So if I count with my fingers and skip count by 4, and stop when I get to 24, however many fingers I have will be the answer. So if I go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So I've got 6 fingers, meaning 4 goes into 24 6 times. So length of one side is 6 centimeters. So this question mark is 6, meaning this right here is 6, this is 6, this is 6, because it's all the same. So H to J is 6 centimeters, meaning the area will be 6 squared, 6 times 6. All right, so the area just means length times itself. So that's how you write it, L with a little 2 on it. So 6 with a little 2 on it just means 6 times itself, 6, which equals 36 centimeters with a little 2 on it, meaning squared. Hopefully you've learnt something new. If you're still finding it hard, look at the next video and hopefully it'll become a little bit easier to do in the future.